In this lesson, we are going to talk about the distributive property while using integers. So your goal is I can rewrite expressions using the distributive property. You do need to remember your integer rules for this lesson. So keep in mind that a negative times a negative is going to give you a positive. A positive times a positive is going to also give you a positive. On the flip side, a negative times a positive is going to give you a negative, and a positive times a negative is going to give you a negative. So same sign, your result is going to be a positive number, and different sign, your result is going to be a negative number. All right, so there are two ways to do the distributive property. There's the forwards and there's backwards. And backwards is also called factoring out the GCF. And this is actually the more formal name, factoring out GCF. This is the way you'll see it like on the EOGs or on map testing or other standardized testing. But today we're only going to focus on forwards. We're going to do backwards in a completely separate lesson. Okay? All right, so to do forwards distributive property, the best way to explain it in this case is in pictures rather than words. So we're going to focus on the left-hand side of the screen first. So a typical problem is going to look something like this, what I have boxed in red. Okay? You're going to have a set of numbers inside the parentheses with an operation. It could be plus or minus, and you're going to have a number outside the parentheses. What you're going to do is you're going to take the number that's outside the parentheses and you're going to distribute it. And remember, distribute means to pass something out. So like when a teacher asks you to distribute papers, you pass out the papers in the class. So you're going to distribute it first to the first number in the set of parentheses, and then to the second number in the set of parentheses. And the way you distribute it is simply by drawing arrows. Okay? Now, by distributing, what that means is you are multiplying. So, what you're doing is you're multiplying the 8 times the 5. Okay, so here we have 8 times 5. Okay, your operation in the middle here is plus, and then you have 8 times 3. Okay? Now, again, this is the very detailed version, and it'll go a lot quicker as we start to solve problems later on. 8 times 5 is 40. And then we have plus, and then 8 times 3 is 24. 40 plus 24 is 64. Okay? There is another way to look at this as well. Sometimes the number that you distribute will be on the right-hand side of the parentheses. You will also have situations where the number or where the operation inside is a subtraction sign rather than an addition sign. What you're going to do is you're still going to take the number that's outside the parentheses and you're going to distribute it. You always need to distribute it to the first number in the parentheses first. So you're going to distribute this 4 to the 8 first, and then you're going to distribute it to the 6 next. Okay? So 4 times 8 right here, and then our subtraction sign, and then 4 times 6. Now 8 times 4 is 32, and then 6 times 4 is 24. Subtract them, and you get 8. All right, so let's see what that looks like when we solve an actual problem here. All right, so we have 2 parentheses 6 plus 4. So we're going to go ahead and distribute our 2. I do want you to draw the arrows to show me that you know how to distribute. So 2 times 6 is 12. And then I have a plus sign in the middle, and 2 times 4 is 8. 12 plus 8 is 20. And then we're going to box it off. Simple as that. Where we get a little more complicated is where we have our negatives here. So this time what we're doing is we're distributing the negative 3 on the outside. So we need to make sure that we remember our integer rules. So negative 3 times positive 4 is negative 12. And then negative 3 times 2 is going to be negative 6. So now I have negative 12 plus negative 6. And that's going to be same sign. We're adding them. Okay, so same sign, so we add and keep the sign. So that's going to be negative 18. All the integer rules are coming together here. All right, now this time we have all positive numbers, but the number that we're distributing is on the right-hand side. So we always need to distribute to the first number in the parentheses over here, and then we'll distribute to the second number. So 4 times 7 is 28, plus 4 times 3 is going to be 12. So 28 plus 12, that's going to be 40. All right. Now here I have a 3 on the outside, and it's on the right-hand side that I'm distributing. So I'm going to distribute to this -8 first, and then I'm going to distribute to the -1 next. So 3 times -8 is -24 plus, and then 3 times -1 is -3. -24 plus -3, same sign, so we're going to add and keep the negative sign. It's going to be -27. All right, let's take a look at this one here. So we have the 2 on the outside. It's going to distribute to the 7 first, and then it's going to distribute to the -8 next. So 2 times 7 is 14 plus, and then 2 times -8 is -16. So here we have different signs, but we're adding, which means we're going to ignore the sign, subtract the two numbers, and keep the sign of the bigger number. So 16 minus 14 is 2. The bigger number is 16, and it's negative. So my answer is -2. All right. So over here, I have the 3 on the outside. It's going to be distributed to the 4, and then it's going to distribute to the 1. So 3 times 4 is 12. Bring down my subtraction sign, and then 3 times 1 is 3. 12 minus 3 is 9. All right. Now I'm going to take this opportunity here for a second to address a question that some of you may be thinking. Some of you may be thinking, well, why don't I just follow order of operations and do my operation inside the parentheses? So like, for example, 10 minus 3 is 7, and then multiply it times 4 to get my answer. So when you can do that, but the reason why we're showing you the distributive property first with integers is because we're going to do it soon with variables, and once we do it with variables, you won't really be able to combine what's inside the parentheses. So we're trying to show you the process here of doing the distributive property, so it's important that you're practicing this process right now, okay? So you're going to take the 4 and you're going to distribute it first to the 10, and then you're going to distribute it to the 3. So 4 times 10 is 40. Bring down your subtraction sign, and then 4 times 3 is 12, and then 40 minus 12 is going to be 28. This problem over here, the 5 is on the outside of the parentheses, so you're going to distribute it first to the -8, and then you're going to distribute to the 4 right here. So 5 times -8 is -40. Bring down your minus sign, and then 5 times 4 is going to be 20. Now here you have -40 minus 20, so you need to do keep, change, change. So I'm going to do my tic-tac-toe. So keep, change, change. So I'm going to keep -40, change my minus to plus, and change change +20 to -20. So now I have addition, I have same sign. So -40 plus -20 is -60. All right, go ahead and try these 3 as you tries, and then we will compare answers. All right, so for the first problem, you should have gotten negative 24. For the second problem, you should have gotten positive 33. And then for the third problem, you should have had to do your keep, change, and you should have gotten negative 117. All right, that is the end of this lesson for Ford's distributive property. Our next lesson will cover the second type of distributive property, which is backwards, and then we will move on to adding in variables.